Hey everybody, welcome to the Fortnightly Frontier podcast. There you go. Is that it? Are we good? Did I do it?
It was perfect if only your camera didn't freeze at exactly the same second. So of course. But other than that,
do you want to do it again?
I mean, we could. It's too late.
Let's do it again.
I already changed the scene. Okay. All right. Third time's the charm. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Fortnightly Frontier podcast. I'm here with Darjanator and Myre, and we're going to talk about Star Citizen and maybe a little bit about some Evocati things, but not what you think we're going to talk about.
No.
There.
Also, I'm leaving all this in.
Yeah. Also, the camera froze again. Like the worst time.
I think it's your transition that causes it for some reason. You know,
maybe
Twerk's camera gets scared.
It gets offended. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, we should be fine then, hopefully, because it has not done that the entire time until then. Yeah. All right. Cool stuff. So yeah, well, thanks for joining us, Twerk. Like,
anytime.
I've been
wanting
to have you on the podcast for some time. I never asked, but I've been wanting.
But if you asked, you could have had me earlier.
Yeah, but he and I have been talking about it like a couple of times, but it never happened. I don't know why.
Yeah, but anyway, we have you on now, and
I guess it never happened because I had a crazy work schedule before, where it was like really late nights, and now I just have a crazy work schedule where I work really long days for 3 days a week, and then I have 4 days a week off. So I have a lot more like time to hang out with my friends. And when I saw Myre in my stream the other day, I was like, let's hang out some more, basically. And here we are.
Yeah, awesome. Man. Well, thanks again for joining us. So normally on this podcast, I mean, like normally we have the Fortnightly Frontier, but then we also have the Frontier feature, which is like the Fortnightly Frontier, but it's more about interviewing our guests and knowing more about them. But because you're a Star Citizen content creator, I kind of wanted to merge the two formats together today. Okay. So like we'll have like maybe like 10 minutes just so that, you know, the regulars on YouTube and stuff will know more about you, and then then we'll go into the conversation.
Cool.
So with that, welcome, Twerk. Who are you and what do you do?
Also, who is your daddy and what is it?
My dad is an accountant, and his name's Gil. And
that was a real question. You don't have to.
He's a really good dad. But no, I'm Twerk17, and I've been streaming Star Citizen on Twitch since more when Arena Commander dropped, not so much the hangar days, because I didn't actually have a PC that can play it. So I was like, I love this game, is going to be awesome. And I built the PC, and then Arena Commander dropped, so I started streaming it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and have recently been like jumping into YouTube, and I'm really interested in and excited about like doing guides and stuff like that for the game, now that the game can kind of support those guides and how to play and all that stuff. So that's who I am, that's what I've been doing, and I've had a great time doing it and met some awesome people like you guys.
Awesome. So before we get into the actual like Star Citizen discussion, there is one question that I have been wanting to ask for quite some time, but I never have. The name Twerk17.
All right.
How did you come about the name Twerk17?
Yeah, what gives?
My name. Okay, so when Star Citizen came out, you had to sign up. Like everyone that plays Star Citizen signs up with their login name, and then your login name can't be the same as your screen name. So my login name is my screen name everywhere else. It always has been, and people have seen it and stuff like that. So it's not that big of a deal. But so it's like Rod17. It's just so 17 is my sports number, and Rod is part of my last name. I think you can probably figure it out by now, maybe Mrod. A-Rod, so that's my last name.
All
and
right.
But the spelling is a little weird. So that was my login name, and I had to come up with another name. I've never used anything else. And this was when twerking was like popular, and my ex-girlfriend and her friend were like upside down twerking on like the wall, goofing around, trying to be funny. And I just typed it in. And then I put that for Twitch, not thinking I was ever going to stream, and there we are. So if poor decision, like
That's
poor
hilarious.
decision, but at the same time, will you ever forget a guy streaming on Twitch with the name Torque17?
No. Also,
That's hard.
if it was slightly, was it earlier? Would it have been Plank 17 or something along those lines?
Maybe
Plank 17.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been. I wish it was. I would have more sponsorships. I was recently denied one because I was too vulgar, and I don't know if it was because I was too vulgar or if it was because of my name.
Oh, geez. That's rough, though. That's crazy.
Whatever.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I'm always going to be me.
You can't say that, Darj.
It's my show.
It's my stream.
It's your stream, but it's my show. Oh, Dab17. No, God, no, chat. What are you doing to me?
I don't think it ever would have been Dab17. No.
No? Not even if your ex-girlfriend was just like dabbing in the corner at the time.
I don't know, maybe. You never know, maybe. But I've actually thought about changing it like 100 times, and I don't know what I'll change it to. And if I did, what I, it's a lot to change and all that stuff. So
it's a big move.
It's not a name I wanted,
Right.
Not a name I wanted, but what's the name I have.
What's the current fad?
I was thinking I was just going to try and change it to Rod17 and stick with that maybe. And I was thinking about that, but then I'd have to change my logos and all that stuff.
Speaking of your logos and stuff, and I think this will be the last one maybe, but like, so gray is your emote prefix.
Yeah.
What's that about?
That's a good story. So for those of you guys that have been on Twitch for a while, if you've been on Twitch for a really long time, you would know this meme is Kappa is like a very popular emote. And back in the earliest days of Twitch, there wasn't the like tooltip of waving your mouse over the emote to know how to type it in. It's just you had to know what was an emote. So it was a meme to type like Kappa equals gray face with no spaces. And you would type like gray and face. And people would start typing in gray face with no space and nothing would happen. So what I wanted to do when I became a partner was have my pre be gray and then face be part of the emote, and then it would be an emote, and Twitch denied it. And I got partnered in March, and that April Fools was when they did the April Fools. If you typed in gray face, that Kappa showed up, and if you typed in Kappa, it was like an April Fools thing.
Oh, right.
So they had already had that idea, and that's why they denied it.
That's interesting.
Are you though? Is it like a conversion idea, or did they copy you and then deny? Oh shit, we're gonna steal this guy's idea and just do it for ourselves.
I still don't know, and I don't think we ever will. I may have given them a really good April Fool's idea.
So chat on Twitch is saying that you could be Floss17. There is that.
Oh yeah.
That is the new. I mean, like, I'm trying to think, right? Like, twerking used to be a really big thing, and then planking, but Tide Pod
now Fortnite
17.
Is.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Someone was like, the only thing I don't like about you being on that podcast is there's Fortnite in it. That's what somebody said.
Yeah. Yeah, if only this podcast wasn't like 3 years older than the game.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
True.
Yeah, but you have no idea how many followers I'm getting on Twitter
because I think it's a Fortnite podcast.
Yeah.
But sadly, we are a Star Citizen podcast, and I guess speaking of which, now I guess we can go into the Star Citizen discussion portion of the podcast.
Yes, because we do that sometimes.
So, the topic of the Fortnite is, I guess, a bit of a different one. One like normally like it's not necessarily like a meta discussion, but we do talk about like current like I guess features in the game and what we think they're gonna be like and stuff. But this time around,
we do some theory crafting or or just discussing different features or upcoming patches. Like one of the possible topics for this show would have been like 3.5. Like, what do you want to see in 3.5? But everybody's doing that, so because it is on everybody's mind. It's like 3.5 is gonna hit BTU soon if they want to be on schedule, because it is the 19th. So
any day now for schedule, I would say.
Yeah. So this time around, though, we wanted to talk about something slightly different, and maybe it might actually, I don't know, get on a few people's nerves in a way.
And but we also have to be quite careful what we talk about, because of the nature of the show. We can't. This is something we can confirm, but I do believe all three of us are, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be talking today about Star Citizen testing, the Evocati, I guess, the Evocati program. Test flight program. Yeah. And I guess the merits of it, and like why is it a thing? Why should it be a thing? Should it still be a thing in development, and so on.
Yep. So
I guess we can start by describing what it is. So the ETF, as it's called, or Avocado, is a program within Star Citizen, which is already an alpha game. And it's a program made by a guy called Will Leverett. And all it is basically they get a bunch of people who play the game a lot to sign an NDA to then play an early build of the game to try and help to fix and fine-tune things before it gets pushed out into the public. But it's under NDA. And so like you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to, well, you can talk about it, but you can't talk about the details within.
And you're not allowed to share screenshots or stream it or make YouTube videos. Even even after the NDA is lifted, or even after the Evocati Test Flight is over, you're not allowed to share any media you've created or experiences of what it was during it, because it will be a different experience for everybody else.
Yeah. I typically, when I discuss stuff like that, is I'll use statements or things that the other devs, when describing Evocati, have used. So like, it's not for the faint of heart. It's difficult to deal with. It's for people that want to help. It's not for people that necessarily want to play.
Yeah.
You know,
it's basically like normal testing, because we are playing the alpha version of the game. It is like that, but even more so. You get an even more broken build in your and I'm trying. This is difficult.
It's a very difficult one.
It's basically
figure out
they
what
would have
I'm
never
allowed to talk about and what I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, it's basically a patch that they would have never given to any of the backers' hands in any other circumstance other than putting it in under an NDA, because of many reasons. It's not something that they want to show to the public, because they don't feel it's ready for public consumption, and for reasons being that sometimes the things in an Evocati patch may not make it into the live build, and they don't want that kind of like disappointment out there.
Yeah.
So this is why it is.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss this. Is I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people would prefer to see all the different avenues that they're exploring, and trying to see what works, and what doesn't work, and just to see where, to have a better, clearer picture of where all the development time is going. Because if they're supposed, they say they're transparent, but a lot of the stuff the public never sees, and they eventually see a single line of development. It's like a lightning fork. Like if you see it in slow motion, it branches out. It sends out feelers, and then one of them will hit the ground, and that is the path of least resistance.
That was like Caves a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder how many R&D things they've done, but Caves was one of the ones that they liked. So that's what we saw on an ATV.
Yeah.
I can see the merits of having something like ETF though, because like when you have it, like it means that you can have a smaller group of people inside, and the things that they do and the things that they test, I guess they test with like a laser focus, and so you can then get I guess feedback from them that you may not necessarily be able to get from a larger pool because there'd be too much feedback from too many sides with too many ideas. I can see why. I mean, also, I can kind of see it as kind of more like a marketing thing as well, you know? Like, if you have people inside looking at this stuff and it's really broken, then you can kind of protect the game from being, like, let's say, shown on Polygon or something as really broken, and then they'll always end their articles with Star Citizen still has no projected release date and is had $200 million raised and stuff. They always do that, even when something good happens. So I feel like that might be also why they do that.
I suppose, but the Evocati numbers are quite limited compared to the overall people that are interested in the game, and since they are the most dedicated ones, they fall in line together in a sort of specific focused gameplay scope,
right?
And if they're the ones, like a couple of hundred people that influence the development of the game, it doesn't really reflect what the majority of the people would have chosen.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fair. Yeah. But like,
so in that case, it would be, I think, well, maybe what they could have done is, apart from ETF, they could for every of these major gameplay developments, they could put out a poll on the site, you know, and you know, like to have more people decide on which direction they wanted to go, maybe.
Right.
And the funny thing about that is that if you could take that even further and say the people that are actively on Spectrum and watching their YouTube videos, like even their forward-facing stuff, that is a small section of the people that are actually interested in Star Citizen. It's
maybe
tough.
a couple of 10,000 out of 2 million. Yeah,
exactly, right. So it's tough. Like, so many people are sitting here and waiting for them to just do the work, but part of the problem is that they need our help to do it. You know, a little bit. They need feedback.
So,
or at least they want feedback from us, which is awesome as well.
So with the ETF and stuff comes the NDA, but with an NDA comes leaks. What do you guys think about the leaks that get put out on a, almost semi-regular basis with ETF? You know, the moment a patch comes out, that's on Reddit. The moment something cool happens in ETF, like, you know, there's something picture-worthy, it's on Reddit. Do you think that is a good thing? Do you think that it's damaging in any sort of way? Do you think that it should keep happening? Do you think that CIG should, you know, like, I guess, do something about it?
I'll let you go first, Darj.
Well, it's a good one. I think it's good because it gets a larger section of the community into the conversation.
Okay.
If it's controlled, but if everything leaks, then all of a sudden it's, you know, there's no point in having NDAs because everything is being shared with everybody else that's not supposed to come out. And like you said before, you know, all the negatives are being picked on instead of the positives.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have people that are not under an NDA, just really having a conversation and really open about it and enjoy, like, just going about their lives normally. And the way we had to start this podcast was, can I say that? Can I not? Because I'm helping them.
Yeah.
And I want to continue helping them,
weird.
and I don't want to, you know, get on their bad side.
Now, that affects content creators more than anybody else.
Yeah,
it's a very, very niche issue. And a lot of people are going to go, well, it doesn't affect me. Why do I care? I can just go to the Reddit and see the leaks and decide what I want and to look at and what I don't want to look at. The NDA doesn't affect the average player at all. It affects me, you, and a few other content creators that are in Evocati. The other ones, it doesn't really affect because there's no punishment to them for discussing the issues.
So I think I will go on to say that whilst there is no punishment per se for them discussing the leaks or like spreading them to a wider kind of audience, there will be ramifications. I mean, like there won't be like, you know, like a stern, like, you know, bam, things happening to those content creators. Yeah. But this happens with a number of video game companies and stuff where like especially like, you know, you have video game reviewers who do reviews before the embargo is lifted and stuff. This is no different from that. It's so like the content creators who are posting stuff and showing everybody, hey, look at what just leaked. CIG knows every single one of these content creators who does that. And that will damage their prospective relation, their future prospects with CIG regarding any content in the future, because they know that those content creators as people who don't necessarily respect that legal kind of like, you know, they don't respect the ETF. They don't respect, you know, what CIG is trying to do with that. And so you're not doing yourself favors.
They're not respecting any sort of agreement they've made with the company. So why would they continue to have a relationship if all they've done so far is shown that they have no respect for any sort of contract or agreement that they've made so far?
Yeah, it's very.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's dangerous ground, even if there are no ramifications, because even if CIG or CI don't do anything about it, even if they still reach out, you know, for content and stuff with those creators, other game companies and stuff, when looking at these creators and the background of those creators, will know that kind of content. And they will see that kind of content, and they will know to be a little bit more kind of like, I guess, skirtish about working with them, because they know that it's dangerous ground is basically what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And I discussed a little bit with you guys earlier, like when we were discussing the topic. I think the punishments and some of the people that do these kind of Evocati leaks, these are my friends. And I think the punishments for it should be pretty significant. And it's so simple because it's not banning someone's account. It's not saying you can't play Star Citizen. I think the punishment should be if you leak something from Evocati, and this can affect every single leaker potentially, that you can't play the PTU.
Oof.
Just revoke PTU access, because guess what? Where's all the actual content? Yeah, public PTU. That's what I mean. The entire PTU cycle. Because where's the actual content for a content creator? It's as soon as the PTU comes out. That's where all the videos are made. That's where all the views come from. That's where all the money's made.
That is
during that cycle. And that would be painful. And guess what? The second they take that away from one content creator, there is not a single content creator that's going to risk leaking an Evocati patch once. And I mean, I think what we really need to discuss though is what's the not ramifications, but how does a leak affect the game? How does a leak affect the other backers?
Right.
Besides us. Because we used to get, you know, we're content creators. We're people, you know, that are fortunate enough to have a viewership. Not everybody does. Some people want that, want viewership that we have. And people are going to go, oh, poor you.
Right.
But I think leaks affect the game and the players playing it overall, not just the content creators.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It affects us in a very unique way. But as your average, like, person who backs the game, it'll affect you because, I guess calling or saying how it affects the average person isn't really wouldn't help, because there's more than one kind of like backer, there are different kinds of people out there, like for one backer, all it is like, oh cool, that's what's happening, I understand this is an early access game, this is alpha, and my expectations are still managed. but then that's only very few people. And then there are other backers who will see like something from the 3.5 PTU and go, oh my God, that's broken. Our corp is too red and not vertical enough. The game is broken, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I understand the reference.
yeah, I mean, like, it's a slippery slope because, of course, like CIG want a specific and certain amount of information out there. And they do that through ATV and RTV and all those other content things that they release on a regular basis. And then to have like more sensitive things leak, it doesn't really help them. And it doesn't really help, I guess, players, I guess, with their mindsets, if you know what I mean. And I think that's really all that, I mean, what do you think? I mean, like, how do you think it affects the non-content creator?
Well, I mean, I was just sitting in my Discord. I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning before my alarm, and some people in my Discord were just chatting about the leaks and how upset they were about what they saw.
Right.
And I was like, this is the argument for an NDA right here. Is you're arguing and you're upset. You are emotionally upset about something that is going to be different than when you actually play it.
Yeah. I see that a lot.
Yeah.
And even by extension, it's everything's subject to change. So even the way things are now in the live build is not necessarily how they're going to be.
Like a year from now, maybe.
A year from now, or when the game goes live. There are certain things that you should develop an emotional attachment to. But for simple things like the way the Carrag's landing gear is, why? When they released, the first images of the, sort of the dog-like landing gears, there was such drama in Discord and on Reddit and everywhere you looked. I suppose it had a positive impact that they changed it and looks really badass now. But the way the people just got, immediately went for their pitchforks and torches is like.
I think there's a case for that kind of thing, though. There's a case for people's opinions, like, and everybody's opinion matters. Even if it's a terrible opinion and you're wrong, it matters. Because at the end of the day, like, it all adds towards this bigger conversation. And with things like the Carrack, I mean, like, that's not a leak. That was them showing us something, and that was people reacting. But then that's them reacting to something that CIG thought wasn't a good enough position for people to react to. And that was the reaction they had. And then, so as you were saying before, with like the leaks that your Discord members were talking about, that got them upset, and it's like that should not have been the case in the first place, and that's why the NDA was there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
this might be slightly going on a tangent. Do you think the Reddit allowing leaks is an issue as well? They used to not, and now they don't care, and now people aren't even tagging their posts as leaks.
No, that's very
like
true.
we're getting there. They're not even tagging their posts as leaks. That is a problem.
Well,
the issue
it's
there,
like they merged the Star Citizen subreddit and the SC Leaks ones. And they just
the issue there is that, like, before they were like, this is a leak. This will have a negative impact to certain people because, of course, it's too early for people to see and then react to and give their opinions.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just me, but I get upset when people get upset about stuff that they shouldn't be getting upset about. But But anyway, that's besides the point. But like so yeah, that. Sorry, my train of thought derailed there. I got upset.
I mean, it just...
So you got upset about getting upset about people being upset about things they shouldn't be upset about.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is we were promised, or this is an open development game, and you want to have it. Like, one of the coolest things about it is that you actually can have an impact on the way the game looks, feels, plays. So when a certain group of people are allowed to have an opinion and you are not, it is kind of frustrating.
Right.
So do the leaks affect players negatively? Yes, because they can sit there and discuss they can have their conversation, but nobody's listening.
So I remember the question now. So the question was, do leaks have a place on the subreddit?
On the Reddit,
yeah. I mean, back in the day, the subreddit mods would just wipe them, right? Because of course this narrative we're talking about. But over time, they changed their way because there was a massive public outcry saying that it was against free speech and stuff. And I guess it's an entirely different kind of conversation as what is free speech, where is it allowed, that kind of thing. But
well, free speech only applies to the government. CI is a private company, and they have every right to do whatever the fuck they want. So is Reddit and Reddit mods. They are allowed to do what they want. There's a set of rules, and if you don't abide by those rules, good luck to you.
Yeah, it doesn't stop people complaining, though. That's the issue.
No.
Yeah.
No. But idiots will idiot.
Yeah, but because of that, I'm sure that what happened is that because it was getting such negative, I guess, a reaction from the people using the subreddit, the moderators just decided that if it's going to stop good content happening on this subreddit because people will move to other places to talk about this stuff, they may as well just open it up to, to everybody and that kind of thing. I respect that, and I respect the use of the leak tags and stuff, but I feel like leaks... Yeah, they need to be used because not everybody wants to know, even sure, ETF is different, but not everybody wants to know what happens next. And these leaks go deeper than ETF. They go into things like data mining the game and showing off things that should not have been shown off. Certain data mine things include actual Squadron 42 intro voiceover and things really important Squadron 42 things. I'm not going to talk about them because I don't want to ruin them for people. But there's
or for me, I don't want to ruin that for myself either. Yeah. That's why I would like.
I'm not going to go in. Yeah, I'm not going to go deeper into it. But those leaks, sure, it's freedom of information, but it actually ruins future experiences for people. It's why streamers always, when they play a new game, they want to play it blind because they don't want those, they don't want their experiences to be sullied by things that they know they have full knowledge about. And it's the same thing, but certain leakers don't believe that. It doesn't come into their, I guess,
there is also something to be said about, like I tried to allude to before, that a bigger audience to be part of a conversation about a direction of development is sometimes better, because even if you look at the live aspect of the game, there are certain things in it that make you think whether the people making the game actually play the game or not.
Right.
So they develop a feature and they make it bug free, but it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Like current who was it that linked me to the new refueling mechanic?
Oh, it was me. Yeah.
What was it? You? Yeah.
We were discussing it for the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I was debating whether or not to make a video. Yeah, I was debating whether or not to make a video about this, and it's it's tough because I mean it feels like sometimes they don't play the game, and then giving them feedback on hey, this is stupid is good.
Yeah,
it's great. And if you tell them this is stupid as early as possible, or this is great as early as possible, that's awesome.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate with that one, and developers making the game that we have right now not optimal is because they're not necessarily thinking about short-term goals and making quality of life in the now fun to play. They're thinking about the big picture, but I feel like at the same time they get lost so much so in the big picture that they end up making the experience of people who are there with them in the now terrible.
So it's like the opposite of not seeing the forest for the trees is not seeing the trees for the forest.
Yeah, it's like I think it was either an RTV or an ATV segment or something. They had one of the devs in charge of the entire in-game economy, talking about their thought process for why ships cost, you know, so much, why missions give you so much money, and all that kind of stuff. But then they were like, yeah, that's because in the future you're going to get these other delivery missions that will give you more money, but they don't exist yet. So why don't you just manage what we have right now, make them pay more so the rest of the game is actually fun? They don't do the trade routes. They don't play the game or anything. Everything that they ever do is pretty much just down to the math and the science, and then they have QA play it. But as you were saying, like what we have right now in the immediate is not fun because they're not thinking about the immediate.
Yeah.
But I agree that they should be playing the game to know that what we have because like it or not, even though the game is early access, people are playing the game as a game, and it should kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still might
having it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say, like, I still might make that video but I'll give you kind of my thought process on it is like, I love playing games from Paradox Interactive. I think they're great. And they're very much like Star Citizen games or Star Citizen, where the game comes out and it's not very flushed out when the game comes out. And as they add more and add more and add more, it gets more complex and more complex and more complex. And these games end up being absolutely incredibly good games. And what they do in that studio is their devs are forced to play every month, play one of the games from their studio with each other. And they both learn what works and what doesn't in their game, and they learn what works and what doesn't in their other studios' games, and so on and so forth. And I do not see that from CIG or CI or whatever you want to call them these days at all. I see, like, the only time that we see them playing the game, it was like Todd Pappy playing, that was one of the best RTVs I've been a part of and watched, was that he's sitting there playing. He's like, oh, that's broken. I know that's broken. That stinks. But he's playing it and he knows how to play.
Right.
But then you have Lando sitting there going, and I don't want to make this a poop on Lando parade because I think he does a wonderful job, is that, like, he wasn't really comfortable playing. And he doesn't have to necessarily be the one playing. I'm just saying if we did something like dev clashes that Paradox does, and these events where, like, you don't need content creators to play games with you, or you can do that as well, but you can play against each other, show us playing your game, and then you find out exactly what's not fun and what's fun. Because guess what? While they're looking at the bigger picture, Chris keeps saying that we're building this game out now, and we want the experience to be enjoyable and playable while we're building it. Oh, guys, we got to polish it a little bit more. Oh, we got to polish it a little bit more. Like, that's what we keep hearing about. But if you don't know what to polish because you don't play, if you don't know what's completely out of whack and what's not, it's...
it would be nice if they had, like, more... like, maybe even make it a monthly thing. Not even, like, that frequent, but at least have have them play the game, as you said. Yeah. Like, focus tests, but not really focusing anything, just having fun. I guess really what it comes down to is the fact that some game devs don't even like playing games. They just like the puzzles and the challenges behind making the games themselves. Yeah. Like, I think...
And we all have jobs. Like, there's countless people that we go to work with on a daily basis that we're like, that guy doesn't give a shit about his job.
Yeah.
He just comes here for the paycheck. And there's undeniably some people that work at CIG that are that person, because guess what? There's those people at every job. Like, they're not going to have
over
perfect
500
staff.
People at
there's going to be some people that are just collecting a paycheck there. But you know, and like that's the nature of it. But if you play the game and see the issues that, like, I don't think when they play the game, I think this was described by either Myre or Darj when we were discussing this earlier, was they play the game to make sure it works.
Yeah.
They don't play the game to make sure it's fun.
Yeah.
So I think they play the game, but I don't think they play the game from our eyes and our perspective.
And do you think they need to, though? Do you think they need to?
They should, yeah.
Yes. I think if you put them in that dev clash situation where it's like, I have to go into this game and I have to succeed in playing Star Citizen and not succeed in making sure that my work is good, I think you'll see a lot of eye-opening moments from the devs that are working on their actual project.
So my question. Sorry, go ahead. You hadn't finished.
Just one last thought is very, very often I have a couple devs that are by my stream when I'm streaming, and very often are they much further along or on a completely different build in their studio versus what we're playing. So they are playing their game. Maybe they're playing their game, but they're not playing our game a lot of the time. So
right.
That's it. I mean, that's my last thought on it.
And it would be cool actually to see that. I mean, years ago, they did show us on ATV or as an RTV, like what they had planned for the future, the early development for certain either gameplay or technologies, and they just sneak peeks. Like they showed us grabby hands, and nothing ever happened with grabby hands, and the original scanning mechanic, and nothing came out of that.
People raged, right? The golf swing.
Not happy about that golf swing.
The golf swing, yeah.
And I think that was the start of this.
Kinda.
Yeah.
That was the start of this. When the golf swing thing came out and we all freaked out, they were like, "Whoa, we have to calm down a little bit on what we show." Is like the sense that I got, because this community gets enraged about everything.
Yeah, but it should have been the community should have calmed down about what
you can't though. A community of video game like of gamers is always the same. Always. I mean, just look at Apex Legends. They just released the Battle Pass, and after a month of people chomping at the bit for this thing, when it came out, everybody was vocally so mad. I mean, there was nothing really to be mad about. They were literally giving them free stuff, but people were just like, you can never make people happy in this industry that I've seen. But
and with Star Citizen, it's even worse because no matter what, a lot of the community has a significant amount of money, at least a significant amount of more than your average $60 AAA purchase. Yeah. So a lot of the Star Citizen community, while they are not investors in the game, they are invested. And and because of that investment and that they feel invested, they're much louder than I would say your average community, or they feel entitled more than anybody I've ever seen.
They do, because with every other game is, other than some pre-orders, it's always, as soon as you give money to them, you get a finished product back.
Or a product.
Sure. But still far more further along the development cycle than what Star Citizen has delivered so far.
Yeah.
And so they feel like that is their right to be bitchy about not being as far along as they had hoped.
Yeah.
I suppose.
So to bring it back just a tiny fraction of a second, to the previous discussion about the devs having playtests and stuff, do you not worry that having the devs focus too much on the short term may make them lose sight in the long term though? Like, they obviously have a plan for what they want Star Citizen to be, and that's why quite a few things suffer right now. If they were to focus on the now and how the game plays now, do you not think that maybe that might cause maybe either delays in the future for their final vision, or maybe even a change in what that final vision should be? This is going to be a terrible analogy. I am the best at really bad analogies. Okay. But let's say,
can't confirm.
But when a sculptor is carving a statue out of marble, for instance, I had so many analogies, I picked this one. But when a sculptor is carving a statue out of marble, should they worry about what the statue looks like as they're making it, or should they worry about what it's going to look like when it's complete? Is my question.
Well, they're definitely worried about what it's going to look like when it's complete, and I think CIG is too.
Yeah.
But if you're focusing on what how the missions work now, if you're focusing on how the AI works now, if you're focusing on changing the way certain weapons are,
right,
then you should be playing the game and seeing how they affect the game overall.
Right on.
So your argument is that they're focused on the long term, but they are still focused on the short term.
Right.
Always.
There should be a healthy mix. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the right focus on the short term, or more focus on the player experience, and that's something that's what this year's about. Like, let's look at the roadmap. You know, yes, a lot of the work being done is to create the underlying groundwork for them to scale the game the way they want to, the long term. But a lot of the other work that's being done is to improve the experience of us and how we play it now. Right. I definitely think they've seen, you know, what it was like with Lyric showing up and Waffle showing up, and how Rexzilla is doing right now, and the amount of people that are seeing and getting eyes on the game that never had it before. And those guys wanted to play the game, and they probably would have played it more if the experience was better. And I can't imagine that the amount of orders that they got after those guys played were, I imagine that it was a pretty significant amount, because they did have some fun. And the potential was there, and now I think CIG sees the value of having a playable experience. For, you know, they don't spend money on advertising really, so getting that free advertising from, you know, people streaming the game and enjoying it on Twitch. Look at Apex Legends, look at Fortnite, look at PUBG. Where did these games come from? They came from Twitch. They came from YouTube. They came from content creators playing the game and enjoying it. Like, I think CIG can't ignore that.
So I agree.
Going back to the
Evocati.
very first topic that we tried to talk about on this show, is Evocati still relevant? Should it be maybe morphed into something else, a more involved outreach with the community? Or should they stay where they are with the Evocati, have a couple of hundred players basically dictate how the final vinegar strokes of a patch development progress?
Poor choice of words, man. Jesus. Why would you do that?
Perfect choice of words. Hey, you have bad analogies. I have innuendo.
Great choices.
So personally, I don't think that in 2019 there really is a place anymore for NDA playtests, because they don't work. They'll get leaked, and right now all it is it's a gentleman's club basically. People are there and they're there for props. They're like, oh, hey, where's your guacamole at? Like, oh, I'm ETF. You know, like. That's all it is. That's all it is. And, you know, they do focus playtests and stuff, obviously. They talk about them all the time in ATV. It's no news there. But I feel like if people want to participate in those kind of things, they should be able to. And making it, like, relegating it to such a small subset of the community doesn't do anything but splinter the community in a very small way. And it's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. All it does is, you know, like, again, it's very niche, but as a content creator, all it does is damage what content creators are able to do. But I understand from a marketing perspective why they don't want the non-pretty things to be aired. But I don't think the ETF has a place anymore. That's my like 2 cents.
I believe it. I believe it's a double-edged sword, because I absolutely think it has a place, because I think you shouldn't be showing the game in a state that it's not ready to be shown in, or I don't think you should be showing a game that's it's tough because we don't know what to say. In a not perfect state, and we don't. In a not PTU state, okay? Because we know what the first PTUs are like. They're not great either. But think about, if that's not great, what an Evocati patch must be like.
Yeah.
Okay?
And
it's
or
not
even
for the
just
faint of heart.
Whatever the ETF gets before ETF is even started.
It can be exhausting at times. But the focus testing and the focus testing for the devs and the feedback directly to the devs, it's a much smaller group. They don't have to look through as much. it is just simpler for them to go, yep, that's broken. So for bug fixing, it's perfect. For general feedback on balance and things like that, I don't see a place for it. I believe, like a PUBG or like some of these other games, that a public test universe should be open a lot of the time.
Right.
A lot more than we have it open now. And that's where you work on your balance fixing and all that. But for bug fixing and crash fixing and all these things, the ETF is great. And what I don't understand is that there are many games, and this was said in the Twitch chat, that like Apex Legends was under NDA for a long time. Like I know people that have been playing that for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And nobody said anything about it. Nobody knew anything about it. Satisfactory had a pretty short NDA time, but it was under NDA, and I never saw any leaks. And I've been trying to follow the game since the day I found out about it. And the issue is I think, I don't remember where the leaks exactly come from, but the CIG is not making their effort to close those holes, because if everybody knows that there's like a watermark on the video. Like if your watermark comes up, like I said, I think your punishment should just be like, you're kicked out of the PTU. You can't play the PTU at all. And if you keep doing it, like if you keep leaking somehow, then you get banned.
Is it possible that it's not the people?
Yes, that's what's happening.
So
the leaks are coming from. I don't think this is too much of an issue, and if it is, I'll get in trouble for it. And to be honest with you, I don't care. I'm pretty sure the leaks come from
the issue council.
The issue council. Yeah, and so people are taking the YouTube videos of the issue council and posting them. So that content, that content creator, the person who made it, is not the one who's leaking it.
Yeah.
And like close off the issue council. Like what is like.
So it's more than just the issue council. I feel the issue council is just one place where they get those leaks, but they also then like dolled them up to make it like it was like, you know, a big scoop. But I feel like CIG, as you mentioned, many games have NDAs and stuff. You know, I'm under NDA for a few MMOs. I can't say which ones, but I'm under NDA.
Yeah, because NDA.
Exactly. But CIG, they're not firm on it. And I think that the reason is because it's free advertisement, really. You know, there is like this small kind of like ecosystem that has come about through, you know, ETF and the leaks of I guess you know, community involvement and community anticipation and stuff. It's not always good, but I think that that's why they tolerate it, because it keeps people excited for those things as well. But
all news is good news.
I think that I want to agree with Lucky 13 in chat, who says that I would rather CIG leak ETF stuff. They say leak rather than other players doing it, and they could even make a small show out of things. And I agree. So we've had ATV and RTV and that kind of thing. If ATV and RTV just had more ETF things. You know, just showing a picture from this thing and a picture from that thing, and showing
a couple of highlights. Yeah,
exactly.
But they do. They do. They kind of do.
Yeah.
Like the ETF patch is the patch that's coming, and then the ATVs, they show what's coming.
Right.
It's like you're not leaking really anything.
Right.
And then you're just seeing somebody on like maybe a potato computer getting a bad frame rate, and then you freak out about it. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's like so stupid.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like people are honestly freaking out about leaks of something, and it was in last week's ATV.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people freak out about ATV things as well, so maybe it's not the best idea.
People freak about everything.
Yeah.
So I think the focus group should be smaller, clean up the issue council, and I do believe that there should still be an NDA there for fixing bugs and for certain focused feedback, like the flight model.
Yeah.
I don't think the entire community should be out there going, this is shit. Because guess what's going to happen the second PTU goes live? Is they're going to say, this is shit.
This is shit, yeah.
Because they don't know what's going on. Not because
everybody's going to have an idea of how to fix it, and just, you know, you don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, and it's not because I think it's shit or I even have an opinion on it. It's just people are going to play it. They're not going to understand it right away, and they're going to say it's shit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Because it's something new. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So when I said that the ETF shouldn't exist, I didn't mean like it should be gone, but I agree with you that it needs to change in some way. As it is, there's no point in it. But if it needs to be smaller again, it needs to be, I guess, more focused. And if they want to, anyway, I could hop on.
Do you even think that do they even care about the leaks anymore? Are they even going after anybody?
There has not been a single official statement about the leaks. You know, they have all this people have seen the watermarks and stuff, but apart from that, they don't really do anything.
It's almost as, like you said, it's free advertising to them.
Yeah.
So, and like I said before, it gets more people in the conversation. So if they're actually actively listening to what non-ETF people are saying about the ETF leaks, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
I mean, I'm going to look a little bit because I think there was something said, but I don't know if it was said in private or not.
Log into your Star Citizen account, see if we've been banned yet.
Yeah, no, I'm in it. I'm good. We're good. But yeah, I wonder if they actually care. I mean, that's the thing, because if they don't care, why should we, kind of thing. Like that's kind of my opinion on it now, is if you're not going to do anything about the leaks, then
so I've got a question.
Why
to
shouldn't
you
I
then.
discuss them at all?
Yeah, I've got a question to you then. As a content creator, do you regret getting into the ETF?
No.
Okay.
And for me, I have different reasoning for that. And the reason I have no issue is because I want to be informed about what's coming in the patch before it comes out. So yeah, I'm not the, I contribute to some issue council posts and things like that, but I'm not as gung-ho active tester as a lot of the Evocati guys are. I joined Evocati because when the patch goes live, I want to know what's going on. And as soon as that patch goes live, when I go live, I know what's going on, and I know how to explain where everything is and how to do it.
Right.
And I want to be that's kind of what I like about being a content creator for Star Citizen, is explaining the game to people and how it works and the little intricacies of it. And so I get to learn those before other people, and I'm ready to go when everybody else isn't. So no, I don't regret it, but yes, I do regret it because it's just an annoyance, because we have to sit here and go, I don't know if I could say that or not. And it's like, and what we would discuss and what we would say is so stupid and so minor, but they hold our giant accounts that we spend so much money on over our heads. So it makes it hard.
What about you, Darj? For the same reasons?
Well, I just want to get in on the new shiny as soon as possible. And basically I got into it because I was attracted to maybe possibly having a hand in directing some of the features, maybe the flight model, maybe the exploration gameplay when it, whenever it actually starts coming out. Because it's a selfish thing, but I have an idea or several ideas or a plan in my head of how I want it to work, and I would like that to be at least, something like what we actually eventually get.
Yeah. No, I'm with you guys. I have no regrets about getting to ETF for all those same reasons as well. Because who doesn't like to see the new shiny? But I guess I've also heard some content creators, and I know that there are other content creators out there as well, who purposefully aren't in ETF because then they won't be able to talk about it. But as we talked about before, even if you are able to talk about it legally, you probably shouldn't anyway. So I don't regret it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is you're making content to get views now, but it could affect your views.
Possibly. Your views
when
and
the
your
game
future
is further along.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean is your future relationship with CIG could affect your views later on.
Right.
You know, I like just being able to go to Gamescom. You've experienced that as well. Like my viewer numbers, my sub numbers were never higher than when that event happened. Right. And so having a relationship with them actually matters.
Right on. Well, I think we've talked about this topic for long enough now. Yeah, I think we've talked this avocado into guacamole.
We're
I don't think we have a verdict, but
blended.
it's tough.
Yeah, I think you said it right. When it comes to game bugs, fixing bugs, sure, but for balance stuff and other more broad-reaching strokes, it should be far more open than it is right now.
Yeah, I guess even like performance and stuff with the amount of people, I think they probably opened up it a little too wide.
Yeah. So to wrap things up, Twerk17, once again, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence right here in the hot seat of the Fortnightly Frontier. But before you go, we want you to answer a few quick fire questions because no guest can enter.
Oh shit, we're doing that as well.
Yeah, we are.
Shit.
Off the top of your head, Darj.
off the top of my head.
All right.
What's your favorite ship in Star Citizen?
The Orion. Does it have to be in the game now?
No.
No.
Okay, but if it is the Caterpillar.
Picard or Janeway? No, sorry, Picard
Janeway.
or Obi-Wan?
Well, Janeway and Obi-Wan.
Oh,
because I never watched the Star Treks with Picard. I'm sorry. I watched all.
Why?
I've watched deep.
It's on
okay,
Netflix.
I just haven't. I haven't gotten there yet.
HD.
I haven't gotten there yet. So before the show, I explained to them that I didn't watch much television.
Right.
So I've watched Deep Space Nine. I've watched Voyager, and I've watched the one that's like the very beginning of everything.
The original series.
No, not the original series. The one
Discovery.
No, not Discovery.
The one
Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Discovery
Thank you.
Right.
But Discovery. No, you're right. Enterprise was before.
Still, you haven't seen the Next Generation. You know what? It has not been a pleasure to have you on board.
I'm sorry. I actually started watching it and then I got into something else and then I just stopped.
All right,
so
fair enough, but not really.
Shaking my
so I can't answer the question
warp
yet.
coil.
But I may one day choose Picard. You never know. But I really like Janeway.
All right. What was it?
Sandworm?
Space whale or sandworm?
Sandworm.
Damn it! All the wrong answers.
Space whale's not real. The sandworm's real.
What is your favorite non-Star Citizen ship?
The Mass Effect one, the SR-72 or whatever.
The Normandy, yeah?
Normandy, thank you.
All right.
I have a terrible memory.
It didn't have to be a spaceship. It could have been a normal ship.
Still the Normandy.
Okay.
Mass Effect is like my favorite series of all time.
Awesome.
And where can people find you online?
Twitch.tv/Twerk17 and Twerk17 Gaming on YouTube.
All right, awesome.
And Twitter, I believe.
And Twitter?
And Twitter.
Same one?
Twitter as well.
Yes.
Twerk17 Gaming, yeah. I'm trying to snipe Twerk17 as we speak. I may get it. We'll see.
Oh, nice one. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, Twerk. Guys, this has been the Fortnightly Frontier / I guess Frontier feature. This has kind of been a mash-up episode this time around. Twerk.
The Fortnightly Frontier feature.
Yeah, the Fortnightly Frontier whatever it is.
Say that 3 times.
So for everybody watching live on Twitch, thank you so much for watching. For everybody watching on YouTube, listening on SoundCloud and elsewhere, thank you all so much, and we will see you in the next one. Or in the verse? I've done this before. I forget. Which one is it?
Yeah, you did.
Around
It's in the verse.
Bye!
Yeah.